Welcome, Simona. How are you? Okay, I'm just gonna get going, and I know Hiromi is not going to be here, and then usually Widgeby and David will come, and sometimes Josh and others. I am here, and I have the contributor mindset up as a subtopic, and we're going to be here. Hey, Yoder, Jacob, we're going to be here for about like 25 more minutes. And just taking my time with this new setup. This is the second time doing this where I talk for a bit, like, for 30 minutes, and then we go to our next room that is going to be replay off. And I'm not even quite sure if like the title contributor mindset is correct or right, because things are floating around in my mind, and if you're listening to the replay you can definitely just like fast forward about 5 minutes. That's when we start to get warmed up and get things going and really get into it. Yeah, and yeah, participate in the side chat if you can't talk, and share the room and clip the room. And these are my friends here, Simona, Widgeby, and Yoder, so do give them a follow, and come and follow the club too, so that you can come and participate in these conversations. We meet every week or every other week. We're not sure on that either. So everything is a little bit like always ever evolving. But there are tons and tons of really amazing replays inside the club that you can listen to. So do go for those. For oh, let me just say hi first. So to check in and say how are you, Simona? How are you, Widgeby?
Hey, Katie, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing well as well today.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, Katie. Oh, Miss Simona. Yeah, I'm
Hey,
doing pretty good. I I took off Clubhouse this past week, so this is like my first time on mic, since Sunday. So, yeah, so pretty good. So I enjoyed the week. So hopefully everyone is doing good as well.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so the topic itself, contributor mindset. I selected that because a few things came up in the past 2 days when I opened up talks in connection to like what the mission is of Modern Chi the Club. It's a creative, it's a place where we talk about our creative journey, collaboration, and leadership lessons, the emotions that come up when we lead and guide rooms or participate as visitors, and people who join the stage, which you all are welcome to join if you want to raise your hand, and soon enough we'll also send some invites. Now, the next part of this is, but inside this club and some of the talks, we also get into the user experience of the app, because it's intertwined with then how you use it and how it makes you feel. And the third thing, it's really connected to, it's a part of the whole system, the experience itself, and then the people that come along to also play a part and become a part of the dynamic of the whole thing. And then the fourth thing that happens here in this room is that like true networking, because we are here to talk to one another and share like real stuff that happened, and then within that we then start to build trust and friendship from this way. And Yoder, I sent you I accepted your invitation, so we'll see if you can get up here. If not, you can exit the room and come back in, because sometimes it's just, hey, you're here. Amazing. How are
Yes,
you?
I good, good, good. I'm just out in my garden watering, so I had my phone in my pocket, so I didn't know you sent the invitation until you just said verbally. So good, I'm great. Just finished a 2 mile hike up in the hills and got nieces in town, and so I'm just listening as I'm doing some morning chores and getting ready to go hang out with my nieces at the beach.
Yeah,
So
thank
it's a
you.
family day.
Thank you for supporting. Yeah, Yoder's another friend of mine that we met through Chef Mimi, and another room that that we did a while back, where people were networking with each other. So yes, getting back to the topic itself, and I wanted to bring this up because the discussion we've had, that I want to exhaust or like talk about some more, and then maybe then table it after. But it's really about invitations, and I come at this with, how everyone in their mind, like they have a different idea or mental model for like how, um, how they feel when something happens when they're on in the app and participating and contributing. And for a mod, we see people raise their hands sometimes. Sometimes we send people invitations, and so it's a send and then receive. Okay, sending the invitation to someone and then them receiving it, and then what are they going to do with it? Are they going to accept and join or not? And then out and then beyond that, in the visitor point of view, you are either requesting to join the talk or and then you get accepted or not by the people, the mod. So those things happen. And also the other part that comes into play is then, do we know you? Like, are we friends already, or are you a complete stranger and we don't know you? And so those, because of that, like things changes in the way we interact. And so I just wanted to bring that up. And I know like we've already talked about like given like examples of this, and but sometimes what happens is people get confused by like what positions they're in or feel like extra friendly to everyone, but meanwhile they don't know each other, and so they send the invite and then they invite people up and then they say the same thing to them like how are you, and um but the stranger just comes in and starts to talk and say any and all things that they want to say and behave a certain way when we don't know them. And so that's where the root of the problem like is for a lot of these the issues and struggles that come up with like interruptions and people just not knowing how and when to contribute and play a part in the whole thing. So that's why I brought this whole thing up. So far, do you have any comments, Simona, Woodby?
Yeah, hi, this is Simona, and I think that you need to be prepared. And in terms of running rooms and not knowing, not being able to anticipate how it's going to turn out, that's a factor I mean, that's a variable we all have to factor in. But I still feel like having certain scripts or having a co-mod who can support you and having pre-discussed roles really, really helps. Like, I know for a fact that if I'm busy, welcoming people into the room or doing the resets, or even maybe just opening the room, but having someone else remember to do the reset, because that is something I always forget. And I get carried away in the excitement of the room, and I'm keeping the room's energy high, but I can't do everything else. So I know that there are other people who prefer to be more quiet, and they'll be like, okay, don't worry, I'll be chatty in the chat feature, and I'll respond to people who are speaking up there, because it's not always easy to respond to what people are sharing on stage and look at the chat and check the back channel. So I think dividing up roles with a co-mod that you can trust and rely on, room after room, if it's a series, it really helps to also mitigate the kind of potentially disastrous things that happen when slightly off kilter people enter the room and jump on stage. So I hope that helps. Giving Vishbi the mic. Vishbi, you also unmuted at the same time as me.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think that when you are, when you are starting a room, there's a whole thing that it's like getting ready for a race type of feeling as to how it is like you would start the room and how it is that you're feeling. And it's now with all of the things that the features of the rooms in Clubhouse, there's so much to do. So I definitely do think that the kind of mindset that you have and how it is and what kind of support that you have in terms of co-mod is very important. Especially if you do have larger rooms, or even if you have smaller rooms, if as soon as it goes to 10 people and the room is coming up to a lot of different people coming in and out, some people staying, people asking questions, so now you have to chat, being engaged. So I think how it is that you start is very important. And I know from this room, I've learned a lot in terms of like giving myself that breather, to calmly start the room instead of rushing through it. So that knowing, okay, what is it that I need to do? Like you said, sometimes you do have to have a plan in terms, okay, like when I come into the room, I'm going to greet people. And as I'm greeting people, I have to be also putting up the links and making sure like people are coming in, and so there's like a sort of intro going on. So my mindset definitely needs to be in the right space. And it sort of depends. Sometimes your co-mods can be late or not, or even if they're here. There's a lot of little things that I think contribute to the smooth running, especially now with the replays. And I know Katie and I have talked about this before in these rooms, where because of the replays, when you start a room, you have to start right away to say to greeting both the live audience and the replay audience, and getting them ready to make sure that everyone understand what the subject that we're going to be talking about is. Um, sort of like do a warm up. I think when Katie said, hey, if you're listening to this in replay, it usually takes us like 5 minutes to get warmed up. So I do think that just all a coming in of a mindset of like how it is that I would start this is very important, and because it will sort of set the tone for the flow of the room as we move through. So yeah, wholeness.
Yeah, I love this. And Yoder, I don't know if you've been hosting rooms lately, and how do you feel about like what's been shared about l- just yeah, getting going, and also like detaching from the outcome of like how things will pan out.
Yes, it's great to have partnerships and people that you co-mod with. And I've been in rooms where, it's very organized and, uh, everybody has specific roles. Like one person's being the lead mod and one person's in charge of like resetting the room, inviting people up and making sure that people, I think one of the great ways to do that is to, go through their bio, make sure they're connected to like Twitter or Instagram. So you know that they're a real person. And then have someone to kind of be the time monitor and moderator for keeping things on track and on topic as well. So the room that Katie and I were modding in, the collabs and connections, we did take a break from it. I don't know if you know it's back on, but the format is changed as well. Better because it had become like this one big kind of long infomercial, and I was just going cross-eyed because I was like, what's the value in this? People are getting to share, connect, but it just, nobody wants to listen to an infomercial. So we all took a break from it, and then I'm interested to know like why you do what you do, like your passion and connecting to the person and the story behind the brand. And so that's, resetting of that and just being able to have that communication of what's working, what's not working. Don't be afraid to hit a pause and say, okay, how can we reset? How can we add more value? And then begin again. So, yeah, thank you for allowing me to share my experience and insights.
Yes, that's great to hear from you, your updates, and the room that you are talking about, like it I feel like it makes me think about, because I've just recently then been receiving these like emails about people doing like speed friending, and yeah, it's hard to do a networking room because it could feel a little like stale, or oh well, people aren't necessarily interested in this other person's pursuits or profession, or they're not in the same industry, so then it becomes difficult for people to listen in and figure out like, oh, how do I maximize my time in the space, I suppose. So that goes for all networking rooms, and that's why it's like it's hard to figure it out, and that's why there are people who do this like for real, where they have the like speed dating but speed friending type of thing happening. I love that. Now, yeah, and then from what I heard from everyone, it's really continues to be about like knowing, getting comfortable in feeling and knowing that things can happen and change. The stage can grow or reduce in size, and we have to like make adjustments like on the fly. And also like super important to really have a good like be in a good place before coming in to host a room or co-host the room. And then when being asked to like be a part of the room, like know and confirm and connect on like, well, what am I supposed to be doing there? Whether it be like formal or informal. And it all like boils down to whether or not you have developed a rapport or friendship already or not, because when we don't know people and we invite them up, we probably shouldn't just make them a mod like straight away. And also, I love the example, Simona, you gave of when you are guiding the room and someone else is kind of pressuring you to assign someone else to, or to bring someone up to talk. And yeah, like this is, we all have to know that like basically the person on the top left is like the driver or whatever you like to call like the captain of the ship. Um, and it's not about like a power thing. It's more like, okay, do I want to spin us in circles so that everyone gets car sick or and so I feel like there's an ownership and responsibility in that sense. And so yeah, and just being knowing all the controls of the car so that I don't just go like over the speed limit and like jumping over like bumps and stuff, unless that's the goal of the thing. And some people do enjoy that, right? Going for like we're pretending like we're in a NASCAR race or some other thing, or roller coaster, right? So that's I think those are the main things I want to say, but there more things might come. So open discussion now from now on, and then maybe we'll be able to move on to the next room where it's replay off, and we'll see if we get more people. I don't know.
This is Simona. I loved your examples, Katie, because yes, I do feel like the lead mod is the captain of the ship. And typically, if we all trust in the captain's vision and what it is that they want to achieve in the room, then I feel it flows much better rather than everyone trying to do everything. But I think then the car example is even better because, yeah, I don't need to worry about the map. I don't need to worry about safety. You've made sure that everyone's got their safety belts on, or maybe someone else is in charge of that to keep checking, and maybe I could just be in charge of the snacks or something like that. But I do feel the distribution of the roles and like a sort of pre-discussed responsibilities really, really helps. Like I know that if my job is just to take care of the chat and I don't need to speak up and I'm in a low energy mode, I still feel great knowing that I'm participating, I'm contributing, and there's not that pressure on me, to be fabulous and clever and witty, and I can just chill. But if I know that, oh wait, I'm the one who's supposed to be doing all of those things, then I don't take a back seat. So I really stand by that, and I think it's a great practice for everyone in all kinds of rooms. If you're alone though, I do feel like, yeah, then you have to be a lot more organized. And this is one thing I have learned the very hard way, including today. Um, if you're not up to it, don't do the room. Just cancel it. Don't do the room. The after effects of canceling a room, that yes, you can apologize, or of course it depends on if it's not a series and if other people are not depending on you or whatever. If it's just a random room that you had assigned and you're not feeling it, don't force yourself to do the room. Either postpone it and reschedule it, but don't do a room when you're not feeling 100%. You owe it to yourself, and you owe it to the people who are going to come to the room because they're giving of their time and their energy. And if you're not feeling totally top notch, you don't owe an explanation to anybody, or you don't owe it to someone that because you scheduled a room, you just have to show up. As long as you inform people ahead of time who are relying on you, or who were going to be there as well, or who've promised their time to you, I don't think there's any compulsion to show up. And I think that's a very important part of self-care that probably we don't talk about enough on Clubhouse. Yeah, that was my share. Katie, back to you.
Simona, I'm gonna half agree and disagree here. I think that if you definitely don't have the energy, don't do the room. I agree with that, but don't make it a habit. One of the things that after being here for a year and a half and growing my club, consistency really is so key. Meaning that when I'm holding my room, not just for for the audience, not just for the audience, but I'm also funny enough also holding the room for the algorithm. And this is part of just the machination in the business of, hey, if you have a program and you have it scheduled, you keep that schedule. And now if it's once in a while and you don't feel well, definitely I would definitely agree. Once is okay, but maintaining that consistent being here, being present for both the algorithm of Clubhouse as well as for the most important people, of course, would be your audience, is very important in terms of growth and in terms of like trust as well that you've built up amongst your audience, that they know, okay, after a while you do gain a certain amount of following, especially if you have a room. Now, if it's an ad hoc room, that's fine. But if it's a room that's held just like a radio show, like let's say if you have a radio show and you hold it either every day or every week, then you keep that schedule as much as possible. Now, of course, if you are for health reason, that's definitely understandable. But so that's what I mean. I would say, okay, half and half. I think it's very important to maintain that consistency, and this is where I have found growth within my club, like that consistent showing up, and yes, being very mindful not to get burned out as well. So yeah, wholeness.
I have to say, you fully agree with me, not half and half, because that is exactly what I also said, right? That if it's a series and things like that, oh my God, I remember last week I canceled my Friday room because I literally lost my voice, and I was still hoping that I would be able to, it would heal by the time Friday came around, and literally up until Thursday I thought I'd be okay. And I wasn't. My body was just like, not ready. Nope. So I completely agree with you, because people are depending on you, and you're right. The consistency is for the algorithm and for the people who trust and follow you. So, completely, I 100% agree with you agreeing with me 100%. It was not half and half at all. Thank you.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, that's great because this could be why like this room right now is so small because we have because over some breaks we like did every other week, and also I don't feel like I have like enough rooms in my club, but I am not like I just can't like do that many rooms anymore at the moment. So I feel like if you commit to it, then do it and commit to it. But if you're not up for it, then don't do it. Don't just like go and do it. Because that's when like things can go wrong because then we're not like fully there, fully focused and in good health to like manage everything that's going on. So I think that's like the flip flop of the thing. But yeah, I really maybe one day I'll be able to do like a daily room. I don't know. It's I think that everyone has their limits of like when they run out of steam, and I suppose if you put your foot down and then being able to get a few people involved so that you can take shifts, then that's like how things can really expand and grow in the way that like you have seen your own club or other clubs grow. So yeah, I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. And you know what? We're just gonna go and transition to that other room so that Carolina and Marie, welcome, Joel. We'll go to the replay off room, so feel free to follow along. It's just above our head. You can hit the bell for that so that you can find it and get over there, so that perhaps people would just need and want some time to have a replay off so they can talk about whatever they want to talk about. And this is always the setup, which is for half an hour. I talk about like a topic that I choose, which now we're concluding, and then afterwards we go to the replay off room. So thank you, and I'll be over there opening up that other room and ending this room now. Okay.